a very special episode of Much on Demand as we celebrate We Day here in Toronto. Now, We Day wouldn't even exist without our next two guests. They've been able to motivate and inspire thousands of youth all across Canada to enact change for other young people all around the world. If you're not familiar with Marc and Craig Kielburger, take a look at this. At the age of 12, Craig Kielburger was moved to make a change. That change came in the form of his organization, Free the Children. Together with his brother Marc, their goal was to expose young people to the injustices happening to children around the world.
We want to show the world that this is the generation that we have been waiting for.
In 2007, the brothers launched Me to We Day with the goal of inspiring people like you to get involved. To date, Free the Children has built more than 500 schools and helped educate thousands of kids in developing nations. Today is more than just an event. It's a call for action to make change.
It has always been young people speaking out, and today we follow in that proud tradition.
Wow, truly inspiring. Two brothers who truly know the meaning of leadership, social responsibility, and the power of change. Please welcome Marc and Craig Kielburger.
Seat.
Hello, welcome. I gotta say, it's an honor to meet you guys. You're so inspiring. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
So, I was watching a lot of your stuff today, and a lot of the statistics that I'm learning from you actually are so staggering. $17 billion North America is going to spend on cat and dog food. And that, in the face of so much poverty all over the world, is crazy. But your slogan really stuck with me. You're finding meaning in a material world. Talk about that.
Well, we live in a world where, as you said, $18 billion, $17 billion on pet food, a world $11 billion on perfume. That's more than it would take to end the worst cases of AIDS in Africa. $15 billion at time spent on ice cream, more than it would take necessary to provide universal primary education. It's very possible in this world if we have the will. And so this generation is standing up and saying enough is enough. We need to create a better world. Through that Free the Children event, the giant We Day celebration, students are choosing to raise funds, make their voice heard, and to challenge the status quo. This is a generation we've been waiting for.
I know. It's true. I know that it was inspired by this idea, but it really does feel like a giant birthday party for everybody.
Well, it was amazing. We not only had a day of inspiration, but we also have a day of action. And as we go back, to our schools, and we go back to whatever communities we've come from, we had literally people from around Canada there today, and people tuning in on ctv.ca from across the world to be able to now take tangible action for social change. It's going to be so cool.
This started years ago when you were 12 years old. It started so long ago, and you've been able to accomplish so much. 500 schools. You've met with heads of state. You've been able to inspire thousands of young people all around the country. What is a victory for you? What is victory for this organization?
Well, thank you for the kind words, but first I want to say that wasn't us building 500 schools. It was them building 500 schools.
And these guys here have done that.
Canadian students standing up, loudly and proudly, as you can hear, and all their work around the world. 500 schools, more than 27,000 alternative income projects, clean water and medical for 1 million people in developing countries. So what's victory for Free the Children? A world where every child gets a chance to wake up and instead of going to work, goes to school.
What does that look like, though? In terms of time, do you think about that?
I believe every generation has a challenge history sets before it. Some standing up for the civil rights movement in the United States, or standing up in front of tanks in Tiananmen Square. We are not called in our generation to physically put ourselves at risk, but we're still called to stand. And for us, I believe this is the generation that's going to truly end poverty in our lifetime.
And that's that whole shift. That's that whole shift from me to we. And this is what we're seeing here today. We're seeing that generation of we. It's so cool.
And that's the whole thing. It's so because we live such beautiful, privileged lives, it's easy for us to forget that the number one wish for children around the world is to go to school. So thank you so much for that. Actually, Adrian is in the audience and he has a question. What's up?
Hi, first I'd like to say you are an inspiration to me and I'm pretty sure everybody in here. And I also want to say thank you for starting the We generation. And my question is, Canada is obviously involved in raising a global consciousness, so I'd like to know what could I personally do to help that?
I love the question. Tons of ways to get involved. In fact, this year at We Day, we launched something called 10 by 10 that everyone here knows about.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Campaign, an amazing campaign.
So we're asking everyone to go back to their schools to fundraise $10, just $10. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but when we add it together, that's enough to adopt 10 villages around the world, 100,000 people, clean water, health, sanitation, everything they need to lift themselves out of poverty, and to give 10 volunteer hours of service, which would be 1 million hours by Canadian students. So log on to giveyour10.com, list your 10 actions, get involved. It's going to be a movement for social change.
This conversation could go on for hours and hours. And we're so glad that you guys came. It's so inspiring to have you here.
It's so much fun.
Thank you
And we
so
had
much.
so much fun today at the Air Canada Center. It was so crazy.
I gotta say, we have a lot of rock stars on MOD, and you're cooler than any rock star that we have on the show. So thank you very much for dropping by,
Real
guys.
pleasure.
Craig and Marc Kielburger, guys, right now. Miss Miley Cyrus coming in at number 3.
Thank you for starting this. Well, thanks for having us on. I really appreciate it.
I hopped up the plane at LAX with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess. Am I gonna